Hello and welcome to a bonus edition of the Mental Health Gaming Podcast, I suppose it is. Once again, I'm Bradley, but I'm not joined by Stu for this special edition. I am joined by my good friend Ray Carsillo, all the way from the west coast of the United States. How you doing, Ray?
Good, I'm good. Yeah, I'm here in Los Angeles. It's we got a massive time difference between the two of us, so it's you're just getting up, I'm just getting ready for bed. But yeah, happy to be here to be talking about some games with you, Brad.
Yeah, definitely. I think last time we done this properly was when we was doing the test stuff for the NHL games and doing the live commentary on them, which was fun.
Yeah, no, we were doing that for a thing called Hockey Achievements that then evolved into We Live Hockey, and you know, now we're I'm starting to do that again a bit for Twitch. I just started my own Twitch channel, and every Wednesday I'm doing Wednesday night play-by-play for hockey in conjunction with Lee, who of course is our mutual good friend, who I host my Geeks Who Like Sports podcast with, and he also does a thing for We Live Hockey called Puck Drop Live. So typically one kind of just leads right into the other. On Wednesday nights, he teases the Twitch stream, and I'm always there to make sure for moral support for Puck Drop Live. So yeah, but it has been a while there as I give a rambling, as I'm always rambling.
No, I get that. If people who listen to our podcast know at least some point in a podcast, I go on to a rambling monologue. For geeks who like sports and things like that, we'll leave links in the descriptions and everything. So if you like Ray and like what he has to say, you can check out his stuff. Geeks Who Like Sports is really good, by the way. I might be biased because I helped them set it up. But no, it is really good. It covers that niche market of people who like geekdom and also like sports. They're in the center of that Venn diagram.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, nowadays you got to have that niche, and I think it's a larger. We're finding that it's a larger niche than people originally thought.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'm definitely in there, so I like it, and that's what matters. If you keep going, I'll listen.
Well, we're 50 episodes in, so we'll hopefully we got a lot more left in us. So,
thanks, so hopefully we get to 50 episodes here as well. So, obviously, this is because the world is in crisis. No way of sugarcoating that at the moment, and everything's horrible. But when you do look for the positives in what is going on, one of them, as recommended by the World Health Organization as well, it's okay now to stay in and play video games. The problem is, what do we play, Ray? What do we play to fill that void? Obviously Animal Crossing, because that's all I've been playing since it came out. But what else is there? Apparently there are other games out there.
It's funny because Animal Crossing is the one thing that I never got into this series. I'm not a big fan. It just wasn't for me. And so I'm the one person who's using his Switch right now and not playing it. But like you said, there are a lot of other games out there. I just beat Doom Eternal, which of course is the sequel to Doom from 2016, which was a soft reboot / continuation of the original Doom series. It takes place technically after Doom 64, and yet rehashes a lot of the same beats from the original Doom, including the spider demon at the end and things of that nature. Spoiler alert: the game came out 4 years ago. Sorry. And Doom Eternal similarly continues that story, but also reimagines some of the iconic boss fights and encounters and gameplay levels of Doom 2 from many years ago. So it's both its own thing and a continuation, but yet it's also an homage to what came before it. So it's both part 2 redone and yet also part 5 in this story of this revamped series. Yeah. So I mean, if you love first person shooters, I mean it's not a lot of story, which I think is also why I can get away with like a soft reboot, but also a lot of action, an okay asymmetrical multiplayer mode where it's 2v1, 2 players play as demons. One person plays as the Doom Slayer or the Doom Guy or Doom Marine or whatever you may refer to him as. All are technically correct. But yeah, that's at the top of my list. Also,
so with Doom, sorry, just to interrupt, Ray. Obviously, Doom Eternal, it's just come out. It's going to probably stay at about £50, $60 if we have got any American listeners with this one as well. So a lot of people may not, or maybe discovering games for the first time. Should they start with the, obviously start with the original Doom because it is an all-time classic. But Doom 2016, it's a cheaper option, obviously, at the moment for a lot of people. It can be got on Game Pass or very, very cheap. Is that worth jumping into first before going straight into Doom Eternal, would you say?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to warm up before you jump into Doom Eternal. I think this way you, A, know what's going on. B, I think the mechanics, because they play into each other very, they're the same from game to game. I think that actually, though, the Doom 2016 does a better job of introducing you to them than Doom Eternal does, where Doom Eternal, it gives you the necessary tutorial level, but it also kind of throws your feet right into the fire a lot more quickly because they're assuming that you have at least some experience playing the other. So their tutorial in Doom Eternal is really more of a refresher course than a true tutorial. So I do think it would be worth it to jump into 2016 first and then play Doom Eternal. I think that would be a great way to kind of get your feet wet with the revamped series if you haven't played the originals, especially way back in the day.
Excellent. And obviously not everyone is age appropriate or might find shooting demons in the face particularly enjoyable. So as a alternative to shooting demons in the face.
Doom is definitely M for mature here in the States. I'm not sure what the ranking is over there in the.
It's an 18+ here.
Yeah, so it's definitely recommended for kind of late teens, adults only. A great game to play that is for everyone besides Animal Crossing is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. This is a terrific platform Metroidvania. It's again a sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, and again, I would recommend playing the first one before you play the second, especially because the second one, the story it can stand on its own, but it's made all the sweeter if you've played the first game. But it's a very tight handling platformer. I would say it's a little buggy right now, but we've got a new patch coming out that should fix a lot of that. But it's still, for the most part, a very tight Metroidvania. You play as this little forest spirit creature that's obviously called Ori. And you have these amazing abilities, and you can basically protect nature and these creatures of the woodland from, in this case, an evil presence, a rot, a death, and kind of have to restart once again the cycle of life, right? Spring, summer, fall, winter, everything dies, but the cycle of rebirth in this part of the world that Ori finds itself in this game has become stagnant, and everything just continues to die. So it has to jumpstart this by exploring different areas and cleansing the areas of the rot and the pollution and the poison. And it sounds more hippy dippy than it is. Trust me, it's actually a lot of fun, and it
sounds very apt at the moment as well.
Yes, no, for sure. It definitely, I think more than they intended to. It definitely has some reverberations in the real world, I think, in terms of the environment. But I think that if you're just looking for a platformer that anyone can play, anyone can pick up and enjoy, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is on Xbox One and PC, I think is a terrific game to grab.
I've got to add to that as well. It's for anyone who has any kind of claim that 2D games are for kids or they don't never look as good as big 3D epics. Both the Ori games are beautiful.
Yes.
The art direction in them, the visuals in them are amazing. The music that goes with them, the animation, everything. It is still probably one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, it's for sure. It is a beautiful looking game. As you mentioned, the music, the sound is terrific. It's made by Moon Studios, which are a fantastic story. Again, speaking of the world that we're in, Moon Studios, it is a studio that is completely teleconferenced. Almost everybody in the studio is working from home. You have 80 or so devs from around the world, literally in different countries all around the world, and they just telecommute and stuff, and they all work on different pieces of the game, and then it all comes together in the end. And it's they're 2 for 2 in my book right now. As of right now, I mean, mind you, it's still very, very early in the year. We're only through the first quarter. Ori is my game of the year at this point.
Right, no, I'm definitely going to have to play the sequel. I've not got round to it yet, but there's times that I will play that. That's some high praise. But if we're talking of potential games of the year and personal games of the year so far, I'm going to stick one in there that has absolutely enthralled me since the moment I picked it up, and that's Murder by Numbers. Have you heard of this one or played this one yet, Ray?
I have not played it yet, no.
It is part Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney visual novel mixed in with Picross. They're two genres that have no right to mash together, but somehow they do and create what is just the most amazing experience. It's got a quirky story based around a murder mystery, hence the title. A wonderful array of characters. Each of them has their faults. None of them are written perfectly. It does some excellent stuff for LGBTQ rights, but without it being in your face and this is what we're doing. You know, every single character, you don't have to like them in any of the characters, but they are all so well rounded. And then thrown in just a really good mix of Picross. And you uncover clues, and then when a clue is a Picross puzzle, you do the Picross, it moves on. I wouldn't say there's any branching narrative as such with the game. It's just a case of you move the story along, you do the puzzles, you move the story along, do another puzzle. But there is loads of content there. It's utterly charming. And if you're not up for a multiplayer experience, it is definitely another single player game that is just, you will lose hours to. But yeah, recommended. You can get it on Switch and on PC at the moment. Even if you have never really tried Picross before, it is so well worth getting.
I'll have to look into that one. Yeah, I'm playing a game on the Switch now that I'm not going to recommend, but I'm going to try and power my way through that first.
God, what is that quickly? We won't talk about it, but what is it?
It's Treachery. It's called Treachery in Beatdown City, and it was a fascinating idea. I think that I don't think that they were able to execute on, and right now for me, it's really a bit of a slog to kind of as I'm pushing my way through. It was only $15. It just came out this week, and yeah, they tried to take the old school turn-based RPG and mix it with the old school side-scrolling beat 'em up. And it was an interesting idea, but I do not think they succeeded with it at all.
Doesn't quite stick the landing.
Yeah, no, the pacing is terrible. It's a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor that some of the jokes land. Some of them are just they're just kind of obvious. So the writing is hit or miss. Yeah, so I'm kind of, it's done in the 8-bit style, very much NES style. So that one was kind of disappointing. Maybe I'll have to play Murder by Numbers after I finally finish through Treachery in Beatdown City to try and get through it and wash the taste from my mouth.
No, fair enough. No, but yeah, Murder by Numbers do definitely try that. Obviously, we covered a few single-player games. I know Doom Eternal can have a bit of multiplayer to it, but you play Doom for the single player. It's Doom. So, but for multiplayer gaming, what would you recommend? I don't really do much multiplayer gaming personally, so I'm going to defer to you on this one.
Well, obviously there's a lot of, there's obviously sports games and whatnot, which we touched upon at the top, that I Twitch stream the sports games every day. Either MLB The Show, which just came out, or, of course, NHL, Madden. A lot of sports games are starting to get a lot of play. But the big one for me that just this week, although it's been out now for a few months, Gears 5 just did a free multiplayer update. So new maps, new characters, and a new mode called Gridiron, a brand new mode that just dropped this week for Gears 5. So it's a game's about 6 months old, but if you like Gears of War, it's definitely an update that's worth checking out. I think that if there's any reason to get back into it, now would be a good time because a lot of folks are coming back to it for this update. And the Gridiron mode is a lot of fun. It's kind of a twist on Capture the Flag, where there's a flag in the middle of the arena, and if you can grab it and get it to the other team's end zone, very much in the American football style, you score points, or you can win the round by eliminating the entire other team, so very much in a way kind of like execution. And it's the first team to score 13 each flag or each time you wipe out a team scores 2 points. So it's really like basically best of 13 in a way, but first to 7 wins, right? First 7 round wins.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. It goes actually very quickly because everybody only has 1 life. It's a nice, like I said, it's a nice twist on Capture the Flag, and it's very, very quick. And again, they added new characters. Coltrane has finally been added to multiplayer. They added Mira, who of course is the one-time queen of the Locust. So they've added some characters that people have wanted back in the multiplayer for a while. They're available now. You can either buy them or you can earn them. Earning them is actually very easy. It should only take you a couple of hours. It's not a major grind. So yeah, so if Gears 5 is a big thing that I've gotten back into since the quarantines started because of this new free update.
I might boot that one up. I kind of touched on it, I think, when it first came out. I had a quick go, and it was okay, but I had other stuff to play that intrigued me. But you actually quelled one fear I had with playing something like the Gears multiplayer, especially a new mode, is if they get too long, it just don't hold my attention. I need quick rounds. That's why I like Splatoon and things like that. They're really good. They're quick. You can jump in for 1 game, or you can have 5-6 games, and you're still not taking up your entire day. As opposed to going on to like a Fortnite or a Call of Duty Warzone,
right,
where you've got to make sure you've got half an hour at least really to spare. So to know that they're quick rounds is good.
Yeah, I mean, and there are those modes in Gears 5. Like there are those modes, but like Gridiron, you can be done with each. You can be done with a battle in probably like 5 to 7 minutes.
That's perfect. Yeah, that I think that's the sweet spot for hop in, hop out, competitive multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
My recommendation. I'm such an indie whore. Although technically this isn't indie, I suppose. Is my multiplayer recommendation is Tetris 99, because Tetris is the best, and whoever thought that a battle royale Tetris would be so good. But yeah, if people, if you're just getting into the Switch and you've got the online, Tetris 99 is free, and it is just outstanding. It is my game of all time at the moment. And I never actually on that. I'm never quite sure how to, when you talk about your favorite game of all time, whether you go, right, does it count as a series, or do you have to pick the specific game? Because Tetris has evolved from the original Game Boy one, and that is what started it all for me, the original Tetris. But playing like recently Puyo Puyo Tetris, and now Tetris 99, even like Tetris the Grandmasters, and how it's evolved. That as a series, it's my greatest series of all time. But I couldn't pick any one above the other.
Right.
But they're all my greatest game of all time. But you can only have one greatest game. But yeah, that's one of the weird things I struggle with in my mind at times.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough call to say greatest game of all time. I mean, Tetris 99 is terrific. I mean, like you said, Battle Royale Tetris is absolutely, it shouldn't be as good as it is, but it is great and terrific, and definitely worth getting into if you have a Switch and have the online play. I know I still play it once. I'll still boot it up once in a while if I have nothing else to do. Yeah, the greatest game of all time, I'll always go to Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Again, both series and that particular game for the Super Nintendo. That's the one I always zoom in on, with Mega Man X being a very close second. And again, Mega Man probably being my number 2 series. So it's definitely, those two are right up there for all-time favorite
Actually, the Zelda games are great ones. If you've got time and you just want to escape the real world at the moment, the Zelda games are perfect for that, gotta say.
Yeah, and actually to go back to Mega Man, if you're looking for a bang for your buck, they just put out at the end of February on all systems the Mega Man Zero collection, which are the games that were originally released for the Game Boy Advance. They are 6 of the hardest. You actually play a Zero in these, which is the I guess the not sidekick, but the secondary character in from the Mega Man X series. He got his own series in the early 2000s. They put out a 6-for-1 bundle, another one of these Mega Man bundles, which are absolutely fantastic if you haven't gotten any of them yet. But the Mega Man Zero collection, it's 6 games in one. It's all 6 Zero games. They are some of the toughest platformers ever. Like, Inti Creates, took it to a whole new level when they took over the reins of this from Capcom. And absolutely, it is a I mean, it's a time sink, but it's a fun time sink, especially if you love those old school Mega Man games. And also, speaking of Switch, like, and other systems, don't forget, Mega Man 11 is out. You got the Mega Man Legend collections. Like, there's tons of Mega Man games you can play if you're looking for something old school, but for else to play right now.
This is promise me you won't leave, just storm off as I say this, because I know you are a huge Mega Man fan. I've seen it on your social media and I've heard you talk about it before, so I know you're a huge fan. But it's one of those series for me. I respect it. I respect the series. I see how great the actual series is, but I've just never got on with it. I've tried on multiple occasions. It's right up my alley in terms of the style of game, but I just couldn't. It's one of those games I just couldn't. I've tried like the earliest ones. I've tried jumping in at other points. I've tried some of the spin. I just can't get into it, which is really frustrating for me because it's the same with the other one I do is like the Metal Gear Solid series, especially like the early ones where I can see how good they are. I just can't. It's just not. I can't do them. I can play them, and I think I've completed one of the Mega Mans, but I just couldn't get into it, and it's just really weird. Sometimes you have those blocks with games.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's. I mean, that's fair. It's okay. It's all right that you're not a Mega Man guy. I mean, it's not for everyone. I mean, I know some people don't like it because of the difficulty. I know some people don't like it for a variety of other reasons. Sometimes the art style or the aesthetic or the fact that now that they're on to number. I mean, for a while there, they were literally churning them out back in the early days, one a year.
So yeah, if you think Ubisoft do it badly and EA, then yeah.
Right. I mean, Mega Man was the first annual title. Like literally 6 years in a row, we had 6 Mega Man games all come out, one right after another, and then they made the transition to Mega Man X, and then they did Mega Man, and Mega Man X had I think 4 in a row. I think for 4 years in a row, and then they kind of bounced back and forth between the two series. And I mean, I think in terms of modern video games from 1985 on, right? We look at it from when the NES first came out, so that's when the modern video game bubble started, right? The modern era. Yeah. I don't think there's been any series aside from maybe Mario, and that's because he's had Mario Tennis and Mario Soccer and Mario Paint. But I don't think you've had any other series besides Mario that's had more games revolve around it, or its characters, or its universe than Mega Man. And even Mega Man had a soccer game at one point, or football, as you guys proper football, as you guys say over there. But I mean, it's and a lot of that was because he was the first true annual video game hero.
Actually, talking of Mega Man Battle Network was the one game I did actually get into a little bit. And I'm just going to touch on this, but also just recently released is One Step from Eden, which takes a lot of influences from Mega Man Battle Network series. So if you do like that, that's the one game to check out. Just, I'm not going to go into it. It reviews on our site, but yeah, check that one out if you like the Battle Network series.
Yeah, it's funny, Battle Network, mostly because I wasn't big into handheld gaming growing up.
Yeah.
So the one Battle Network game I had was the one they made for the GameCube, which I really enjoyed. But they said, funny enough, was actually more in line with the traditional Mega Man game, whereas the Battle Network is more in line with like an RPG.
Mm.
And then there was also, and then I remember they did for the GameCube also Mega Man X Command Network or Command Mission. And that was a turn-based RPG with random encounters and everything that didn't work for Mega Man at all.
No, it's weird to think actually when you look back at the Mega Man series. I know we've gone off on a tangent here a little bit now, but when you look back at the Mega Man series, just how influential a character he actually was.
Yeah.
And how many games he actually starred in.
Yeah, I mean, we're literally. I mean, if you go back, you can go. I think from 1980. I want to say 1987 is when he debuted. From 87 until probably the mid 2000s, you had some sort of Mega Man game. Whether it was Mega Man X, Mega Man Zero, Mega Man Battle Network, you had something with Mega Man in it, at least one a year, usually sometimes multiple times a year, because you'd have one from different series, like including Mega Man Legends and Mega Man Legends 2. Like it just, it was a lot. He's got a lot of games.
Yeah, definitely. It's just again, not feel bad that I don't get on with it, but it's just one of those, and I can't put my finger on it. Just one of those things, and I'm sure everyone's got something like that. That's they know they should like, but just can't. I don't want to say don't like it. I just couldn't get on with, because I respect the character, I respect the games. They're clearly outstanding, just not for me, unfortunately.
Hey, to each their own, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, definitely. So before we start to wrap this up, we've touched on a few games, and a lot of them really are for either adults or if you've got people who are into gaming already. But obviously, there's going to be a lot more people now that are confined together as families or even roommates and friends, that kind of thing. And I've got, from my own personal point of view, my daughter, 3 years old, has just started picking up the DS and the 3DS and getting into games. She loves a bit of Pokemon. And she started getting into Mario Kart and stuff like that as well. It's great. Absolutely love it. But obviously, yourself, what do you see as maybe good couch co-op games that are family friendly, would you say?
Oh, goodness. Couch co-op, I mean, like you said, Mario Kart is definitely up there. If you have a group of people, you don't know Jack, or the Jackbox
Yes.
is always a great, terrific, amazing party game. I think it's a must-have for everyone. You know what's really what's sad is it's not coming out till June, which I'm actually looking forward to it. It's a game for the Switch, and they called it the 51 most popular games in the world, and it's literally everything from backgammon and chess up through every card game you could think of, and you can play it on your Switch, and you can play it different ways where that you can put it down like the Switch actually turns into like a mini game board for some of these like classic board games and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's not coming out till June, unfortunately, and hopefully we'll be out of this by then.
On that direct, when they announced that, I went, do the right thing, Nintendo. Please just do the right thing. Release that now.
Yeah, push it out now.
I had, because possibly quite a lot of people, when the DS first came out, or the DS Lite, I picked up, first game I got was, apart from whatever Mario it was at the time, I got 42 all-time classics, which I believe over there was called Clubhouse games. Yep. So I got that, and me and my partner, we played the living hell out of that. It was so good. And the fact that there's going to be a version coming for the Switch I just can't wait for that one. But I was gutted that got a June release date. I'd have taken that with half the games now and just patch in the rest later if you're doing that. It's perfect for the situation we're in now. But hey, if we're still in this in June, that's something to look forward to at home, at least.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're not in this in June, but it is still something good to look forward to. It'd be great, obviously, for road trips and the like.
And also, I think one of the things that will happen through this is I think a lot of families are discovering each other again. So it's something to plan for afterwards. You can maybe set aside a couple of hours at a weekend to all come together and play something like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. If you're fortunate enough to be close to you obviously you live with your family or you have a family, or then there's a lot of great games to play with. Even if you're just learning to. I know we bring up our buddy Lee again. Obviously playing Pokemon with his kids, like you mentioned, also, and teaching them, and also he just got Mega Man 11, and he's teaching. Him and Jane are trying to teach their son how to play Mega Man. But I feel like this might be a situation where Uncle Ray has to come as soon as he can over to them when the quarantine lifts and show them how it's really done.
Do it properly, kids.
Yeah,
it's really interesting finding like children now as they're getting into video games, because unlike us, they've got nice and timely. My daughter's just woken up as well, so that's one of the other issues with quarantine is trying to do these recordings from home. You get the kids jumping occasionally, so anyone who's listening, apologies if you hear her. But yeah, it's seeing like the young kids now learning and growing up. It's like my son is 13 now, so even when he was growing up, he didn't have like touchscreen tablets and stuff like that. My daughter has from almost a young age. And seeing like her trying to interact with things, she struggles a little bit with games that have buttons because it's all done on screen when she does it on her tablet. And seeing her
Right.
discover something like a DS, where you've got the stylus inputs, or even playing with a controller, it's really fascinating. And watching her discover these in a different way than it was when I was watching my son discover the same games. And knowing there's a massive library of games out there for them that you can pick up digitally cheap, and I don't recommend obviously going out to get them, but you can pick up cheap from boot sales, flea markets. Do you call them? I think they're over there, yard sales.
Yeah. Yard sales, flea markets, the whole deal. But like you said, the great thing now about technology and the world we live in is you don't have to go outside to go buy these games. You can download them all through your systems, and a lot of them there's sales. There's a lot of sales going on, or rewards programs, or I have rewards things through Xbox, and every time I buy a game, I get so many points, and after a while, I get money off. Like Doom cost me $50 instead of $60.
Yeah,
because I had earned enough rewards points. I also play a lot more games than most regular people, but there's a lot of things on sale, a lot of things that are on the cheap. Another good, solid Metroidvania called Journey to the Savage Planet came out in January. That's a return to what we like to call a budget title, where it's a good, solid game, but it only costs $30. And actually has it's by the guy it's by one of the former Assassin's Creed creative directors, and so it's got a lot of interesting humor to it. I'll say that, but I think is fun enough that I think that the family you can do 2-player co-op with that. The family can it's not a small child, but I think if you have like a young teenager or a late adolescent, I think that playing that with them would be a really fun game as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And actually, you're talking about, when you talk about the budget titles, something I'm seeing a resurgence of now, which I'm really glad to see, and we touched on this on one of our recent podcasts as well, is the return of the mid-tier game, and games that are just okay. I remember when I used to play games as a kid, or even into my teens, you'd play a game and you go to school the next day and go, "Oh, if you tried so and so," you're like, "Yeah, what was it like?" "Yeah, it was okay," and that was fine. Everyone was okay with that, and we'd play the game based on, "Yeah, that was all right."
Yeah.
Rather than, "Oh my god, it's the greatest thing ever," or "Oh, it's not the greatest thing ever, so leave it." And I've played quite a few games. I've recently just played a game called Dark Souls Plus. Which, if you take out the meme name title for it, it's an okay Super Meat Boy inspired game that's not as difficult as its title tries to suggest. It's not as funny as its title tries to suggest it wants to be, but it was all right. It's just, I enjoyed my time with it. It's hard to go, "Oh my god, you've got to play this," but at the same time, I'm not going to turn around and go, I wouldn't bother. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was cheap. It was fine. Winner. And it's good to see those coming back.
Yeah, slowly but surely. I mean, Senua's Sacrifice was really one of those games that started, because that was a $40 game. The Friday the 13th game that came out a couple years ago was $40, which was a big deal. Like I said, Journey to the Savage Planet. Yeah, you're starting to see these $30 to $40, which I'm not sure, was that what, the 30 to 40 pounds maybe.
20 at the moment we're almost 1 for 1 because of this, but usually about 25 to 30-ish pounds. Yeah.
Right. So you've got you're starting to see more, like you said, more of these come back, and they're usually worth the price of admission. Maybe not for repeat, playthroughs or something, or there might be some issues at first. I know Friday the 13th had some issues. They patched them with the servers and whatnot when it launched, but the games overall are a solid value. And I think, the value title, the budget title, it's good to see it coming back, and hopefully more studios and more publishers are willing to take the risks on smaller, maybe more risky projects, but put them at a safer price point, and everybody wins, right? You'll have more people buy into it because of the price point, and you'll probably end up making your money back. They'll probably make their money back, and you as a gamer will probably maybe even find some hidden gems along the way.
Yeah, and I think that's the I think going to be the good thing is even I think seasoned gamers are going to find stuff that they didn't know about. It's to say I went in Dark Souls Plus. I went in completely blind based on a friend of mine saying he was about to review it, and I went, "Well, what's this?" Got it, played it completely blind. Yeah, it was fine. And another game I've done it. Curious Expedition is another game. It's almost in the style of Oregon Trail or FTL in the way it tells the story. But it's kind of random encounters, but you have to move across a fog of war style grid map to reach a goal, but you've got to manage meters at the same time. And my initial thoughts on it were, oh my God, I hate managing meters. I hate managing resources. They're usually take the experience out, but it works really well, this game. Again, it's not one I'd turn around and say, everyone's going to love it, but absolutely fine. It's an indie game. It's trying something a bit different. The price point it will come in at is absolutely fine. If you only play it for a couple of hours, you're not losing out, but you will get more from it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I've got a child who's now awake and starting to harass. So we'll start to wrap this one up, and we'll probably maybe revisit it down the line. Maybe talk more about a certain subset of games down the line, but. To finish it off, if you had to pick one game to be stuck indoors with for the next, let's say 2 months, and only one game, what would that be?
Oh, well, see, I would go with. Oh goodness, this is tough. I would go with Gears 5 just because, again, because of the multiplayer aspect. That's a big deal. Like being able to get online with people and communicate with people through headset, and to play a game that has a variety of modes and it's always going to be different. I think if you do have to be isolated and you only want one game, for me, like, yes, I'm sure there's, again, a lot of people out there are going to swear by Animal Crossing, but I'm like, much like you with Mega Man, I'm not an Animal Crossing guy.
Which is fine.
Yep. So I'm very happy that Gears 5 got an update Wednesday. So that's probably what I'm going to be doing. Also, just a quick shout out because I haven't played it yet. I'm literally downloading it as we speak. The new Resident Evil is dropped as we are recording. New remake of the old Resident Evil, I should say. It's Resident Evil 3, the remake.
Yeah,
just dropped here in the US. So I imagine it's also there in England as well.
I think it was a worldwide, Western-wide release anyway. I don't know if it was already out in Japan for a bit or not, but right. It's out here as well.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I'm going to be playing a lot of Gears 5 over the next couple of months.
Excellent.
When I'm not playing Doom or Resident Evil.
Yeah, no, it's for me. I'm gonna ask the expert here, but what are we going to play, Eads? We're going to play Animal Crossing? Yeah. We're going to play Animal Crossing. I'm not going to go deep into it. Yeah, we are going to play it. For me, purely from a mental health point of view, the escapism and still being able to interact with friends the way you're doing that, and without having tasks as such, there isn't an actual end game that you have to worry about. It's just the perfect way just to lose yourself for a few hours. And it's perfect. And she's doing a review of it to me now, I swear. But it's great. I mean, we've set her up with New Leaf on the 3DS as well, and she just loves going fishing. And nice. That, again, it's what I love about games like that is you haven't got to play it in a certain way. If you just want to go and fish all day, you can go and fish all day. Yeah, and now she's seen a balloon. So, but yeah, no, Ray, it's been a pleasure to have you on board for this one.
Thanks for having me, Brad.
No, anytime. I will link down in descriptions on YouTube, SoundCloud, on the site itself to Geeks Who Like Sports and your Twitch channel as well, if people want to check that out.
Thank you.
If you do, honestly, if you like sports and you like video games, listen to Ray and Lee. They are absolutely fantastic. And Ray, if we do another one of these roundups, I'll definitely have you on. And depending if he's a good boy, I might even get Lee on as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Lee doesn't play as many games as you or me, but he's got a pretty good history.
He must be losing at the moment with no sport whatsoever. That's when you're a sports guy, it's horrible. I love my sports, but it's I'm because I've got my proper distraction, my other first love. I'm okay at the moment.
Right. I'm the exact same way because I have games. I'm kind of getting through this pretty much all right, unscathed. Lee, on the other hand, well, I called him earlier today, and my heart goes out for you, buddy. Thoughts and prayers.
Yes. Actually, one that I might do, because we do extended features now. We introduced extended features to the site, so to review films and books and other stuff like that. Actually, we might do another one, and if you are interested in this, maybe one we'll do with Lee. We'll talk about delays at some point, because that's been an issue with the way films, especially, are being delayed this year.
Films and now video games. I don't know if you heard the news of The Last of Us 2 today was getting delayed.
It makes sense. It makes sense if they're having to do a physical release with it. It does make a lot of sense. It keeps people indoors,
right? But
it's a good chance for the indies to shine,
right?
So I'm not as bothered about that. As much as I was looking forward to that, I'm not as bothered, because I said I'm a massive indie whore. So the chance for more people to get eyes on games that otherwise go unnoticed is more than welcome as well.
Yeah, no, again, like you said, there's a lot of great games out there. Look, just got to look for them, folks. Like, I mean, most of the shops, most of the recommendations. I mean, just look at the trailer, see what interests you, piques your interest. If you can't hear anything from word of mouth, and I mean, if you got an extra $10, $15, that's the beautiful thing about indies, is a lot of them are pretty cheap. So
yeah,
even if it ends up being a swing and a miss, like Treachery and Beatdown City, you're not really that much. You're not out that much.
Especially as you're saving that on the lunches. You're not going out and buying from Starbucks and the like at the moment.
Exactly.
So, Ray, again, thank you very much for joining us. As usual, with these, if you like what you hear, you can support us on Patreon. Links are down below. We're on Discord, and during all this, we've opened it up completely. We was going to tie it to the Patreon, but we've decided not to now. It's just come, join us. Links are on the site and down below. It's my thing. I don't know how to do a sign-off properly. Never have, never will. But what I will say is the World Health Organization have said it's okay now. Stay home, stay safe, play video games. Goodbye.